I love my plus size community, but I also am an advocate for health. Like, how much are we pushing the border? I get voluptuous, but I mean, if it's going to cost you your life, we need to take a look at it. So,
What made you decide, or how did you start losing weight? Was there something that happened that, what was it?
well, all my life I've been fat since third grade, but I wanted a son. So I got lap band. And when I got lap band, I had the baby, or I got pregnant like 4 to 7 months after that surgery, and the doctor was mad because he said you're supposed to wait 12 months to fully be recovered inside for your stitches. I said it's okay, I got what I wanted. So I was so happy because I wanted to make sure before I was 30 that I had a baby. Because me and my best friend always had these
Little
certain guidelines
promises.
in life. Yes, I'm an only child, so she was like my big sissy. So we always talked like, this is when we're emotionally mature to marry. This is when we're able to handle a kid. This is what we're supposed to do, and that's, by golly, that's what we're gonna do. She didn't do any of it, and I did all of it. And I said, who am I living for? I was living for everybody else, but what I was supposed to be doing. But it was to, uh, season me for such a time as today, right now. So that's where we're at. But it was to get fertile. So I did the lap band and I instantly got pregnant, but there was complications. I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, so I was kind of going against the odds with my fertility. So I said, man, because I never had a problem with being a plus size girl. I was always a confident, never had problems getting boyfriends or whatever. But this time I knew I didn't have a regular period, and I was like, uh-oh, time's a ticking. I'm about to be 30. So I thought maybe I'm just not going to be a mom. And I had a stepdaughter, so I was like, okay, thank you, Lord. Like, this is motherhood. It's as close to it as you're gifting me Gabby. And then when I saw the two lions, I was petrified. I was like, oh my gosh, like this really happened. And it wasn't a miracle because I was petrified. I thought, maybe I forced something. I was scared. I was scared. So my mom came. She goes, I'm not gonna kill a cockroach for you, because she saw fear in my eye. And I go, it's not that, Mom. And she got a little closer, and then she goes, you're pregnant. And I go, mm-hmm. And I showed it to her, and then her mouth went, no way. And her mouth stayed open for an hour. That's how it went. And then I was scared, and then twice I almost miscarried with him at work. So it was scary. But he's a miracle.
Wow.
So
How old is he now?
he's 12. He
Oh,
just
dang.
turned
Okay.
12. Mm-hmm.
So this was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the lap band, and then you dropped 100 pounds after that.
I dropped 60 to have him. And then after Eric came out, I was able to continue my weight loss. But what I noticed is the longer I had it, the more I felt like I was having many heart attacks. And I could watch my food literally go down. And it was just a foreign object in my body. That's why I got that one instead of the other one that's permanent. Because I eventually said I could do it on my own. Got in the driver's seat of God. So I had it removed. And then I went, boom, fettuccine alfredo, chicken, everything I could eat. And I got up to 327 pounds. So that was the highest weight of my life. And now currently I'm 226. So.
Okay. And so are you continuously dropping, or is it?
Yes, I never had a goal to be under 200 till recent. Because I go, I'm going to look weird. I'm going to look like I'm on drugs. I always wanted to just be about 200 was the max, but now in high school I was 172. So I think that might be a realistic goal, but I like being a little bit thick. I don't want to
Little meat on
be.
your bones.
Yeah, I want to be strong. I want to be strong. I want to be able to lift things. I carry a car seat. I mean, I'm really strong. So I move furniture. I do everything.
And then what happened? So what was the beginning stages of the Love Foundation?
Well, it was COVID. All of a sudden, I became a teacher to my son. And when he came home, when everything was shutting down, I realized I didn't have a relationship with my son. And that broke my heart more than any money in the world. So I had to not only put on the teacher hat now. I mean, I saw a lot of kids in pantries on there trying to get an education. I mean, it was near impossible. That's why I think we got to rechange all the curriculum. 2 years emotionally behind is our children. I see it. I teach second grade too for Good News Club.
Oh, wow.
I have 11 students. Right now I have 7, but
When did you stop working for the asphalt company?
in 2020.
Okay, so COVID. So basically, you stopped for the asphalt company, and then you became a teacher because your kid. Is that basically? Or wait, no, I guess it started in 2019, huh?
Well, actually in 2020, well, 2019 December, I guess the virus was out supposedly,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But in
And then
2020, about
March.
March, 2020 March, we got our hours cut, but we were getting paid full 8 hours. So we only worked 5 hours. But I mean, we shut it down. We even had like, we locked it. Nobody was allowed on the premises. I mean, it was hardcore. So then we ended up, I think what ended up happening was, yeah, we were working part time, and one of my vendors came in from G&K Services. He does the carpets, and his name's Juan. And he goes, "Aren't you guys jealous?" And I'm like, "Of what?" And he goes, "Eagle Paving. They have a commercial. All American Asphalt doesn't have a commercial." And I'm like, All American Asphalt is the biggest asphalt company in Southern California. Like, who is Eagle Paving? I got kind of like a little bit, I got a little jealous. He planted a seed of jealousy, so I was curious. So I started doing a little research, and I noticed that, I was like, hey, they do have a commercial, and I was at this point miserable at my company for already about 7 years. But, I love my company. They taught me everything I know. 17 years. I mean, I went to college of All American Asphalt. So, but Eagle Paving, I started researching them, and I noticed it said info@eaglepaving.us. So I went ahead, and I'm a smart cookie, HR it, da, 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 and I fished for a new career because I felt like I was afraid to grow. You get stability and insurance, and your family needs this stuff, right? So I HR@eaglepaving.us bounced back. It wasn't a legitimate email. So I go, okay, I'll just send it to the info. And I emailed and I said, I've been with my company. I give my little thing. I don't expect anything because I'm sure it went into the, spam by now. Well, the owner of the company called me and he left me a voicemail, and I called him back, and I ended up having a 45-minute interview on the phone. And he goes, when can I see you? So I went that day and I got interviewed, and I got a job. So they gave me $25,000 more a year. They gave me a phone. That's why my phone number is 858. They gave me computer capabilities. The plan was for me to work 4 days out of the week from home, 1 day in Poway. And if I was too tired on Wednesdays when I come into the office, I could stay the night in that really nice hotel right by the office. He treated me like gold. He said, you've been taken advantage of. Welcome to the team. And any decision you want to make for my $60 million company, do it. No questions asked. And if anybody asks you anything, you just say you came from All American Asphalt. Well, me being all, micromanaged, oh, yes, sir. Oh, shit. You know? It's like somebody going from prison out to the real world. I was just like, okay, I got to get a pallet of water. Okay, my guys need easy ups. Okay, this crew's going here. Okay, we need to create a oil. I mean, we had to create a lot of different things. They had everything. They had everything. We just needed a little bit of order. So to me, I could do it in my sleep. I was like, okay, what's our assets here? What do we have? We have equipment. Okay. I mean, don't you worry about your $2 million equipment. You know what's happening with the $2 million equipment? It didn't matter. We were writing checks for whatever. It didn't matter. So it didn't fit because I was an IE girl. This is a San Diego lifestyle. It gets done when it gets done. I can't. We need to produce. So it just didn't match because our visions were a little bit different, but I am so grateful because they made me realize I was capable of anything. Sky's the limit. And I went home, and that's what I did. And I was trying to figure out, I was like, okay, God, I mean, asphalt company, all right. And I was like, all right. And then he's like, has nothing to do with asphalt, sweetheart. And I was like, okay. And I was having my roof done at the time, like, sealed. And I go, hey, I know what it is now. And he's like, what? And I said, it's about a healing of the souls. It's not about not a healing of the souls. It was a company. It was a company for us. Basically, it was like a company for healing the souls, and it wasn't about making this asphalt and making people feel good and let's make our employees feel like employees, like they want to work for you. I mean, I had all these visions. It was clouded, and then all of a sudden, it wasn't even had anything to do with business. It had to do with all of us. And I said, wow. And I just had peace. Then all of a sudden I knew I was going to give birth to it. It was going to take 9 months. So I had my grand opening May 1st, which I didn't know was Love Day, National Love Day,
Hmm.
2021. I had some balloons, and I had nobody show up, which is okay. I had a few people, but I mean, it didn't matter because I still completed it. It wasn't a ribbon cutting Chamber of Commerce deal, but it was very important to me. And I had a lot of support. I had girls that were Zumba instructors. I had a health coach, fitness. We had a folklorico dancers. I mean, we had food, and then we wanted to give out clothes. I mean, so now we've been doing other events, so it's grown. But I had my baby, and I took a year off, and I just zenned, and I cried, and I shed all the layers of self doubt for about a year because I knew waves were going to come and judgment was going to come, but that's okay. I knew it wasn't about my face, kind of like Sia. She's when she sings, you never see her face. She just has a message, and she's a beautiful songstress. So I had to realize, get yourself out of the equation and remember what it is that this thing stands for. So I said, okay. So I've been listening ever since, and I just jot down in my little notebook and make things happen. So a lot of people tell me, I mean, I've had very powerful people yell at me for 45 minutes saying, you're doing impossible things, Quintana. Oh man, you're going 150 miles per hour. I said, that's for me. It's not for you, and that's totally okay.
What do you think? So obviously, you've mentioned God, you've mentioned Jesus. You're very, I think, in touch with your spiritual outlook. A lot of people aren't so confident. What do you think caused that relationship? Is it what? Yeah, what opened your eyes, opened your mind, opened your heart, opened your soul?
The turning point for me was when I was 19, and I was completely broken at the bottom of the barrel of the expectancy from my parents, from my church, from my family, my culture. I mean, everything. I was just not any kind of a spokesperson for anything you would think of an outcome of these prestigious parents and this church, and everything's just perfect. I mean, we're going to go to college, you're going to do everything we didn't do. And I was so bottled down with that I turned to other things. So during that time when I turned to other things, they gave me direction to a person that could understand what was going on with me. And I got introduced to this church, Jubilee, Pastor Sill, and I saw a lot of people getting healing, women that were coming from prison. She had a home, and it was a women's home, 4th and Joy in the Vadio of Corona, and that was the church they attended. And it was eye opening because I came from a very strict church, and I was like, but at the same time I forgot my grandma practically raised me, and I was in a Pentecostal church on 4th and Joy. The women's home's right behind the Pentecostal church where my grandma would take me. They'd bring me up to the front, put oil on my head, and do all kinds of things. And I didn't think it was weird when I was a little kid, but I had been at a different church for so long that I forgot. So at first it was foreign, but then all of a sudden I realized, this is real. Like, this is healing. Like, this is precious. Like, this is none of my business. Some of these mothers are wailing at the cross for their children. Some of these children are wanting to break free from drugs. Some of these people are really like up there. It's not about, oh, look at them. I wonder what sin they committed. No, this was real life stuff, folks. So I was just like, wow. So I started to discover it's a personal relationship with your faith. And he's a good person, or whatever we believe. They're a good person. They're not somebody to make us so rigid and mean and cruel. That's not it. That's not what I believe. And I totally respect other religions. 100% I do. Because it's a faith that I don't know. I mean, if you were born in India, I'm going to have the audacity to say you cannot believe this. You are unworthy of the pearly gates. I can't say that. I am so sorry, but I can't. So for me, this is what worked for me. And as I've done that, that's been a big pillar of my foundation, is that piece of me, which is hard because that was 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. But now, me being in the school system, it's difficult it's the impossible becoming possible, right? one of the things. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I have a lot of different things that have happened in my life, but when I knew for sure God was real was I was at my boyfriend's house and I was highly, highly on drugs, and he choked me to death. And what had happened was my spirit completely went from the bed all the way to the ceiling, like I could touch it. And I was confused because I thought, that's it. It was just peace. But I came back, and for some reason, my boyfriend's mom was there that day. She had a boyfriend and she was never home. She was there that day, and she swung open the door like this because he was already on top of me, holding down the soft. I mean, completely air passage gone. And she went, "What are you doing to her?" Like that. And I was already gone, you know. But when she did that, he released, and I went, and I went, and all of a sudden, it went, like I couldn't breathe back in because he had done it so hard, you know. So I just escaped, and I got to my car, and that it didn't even end. I mean, he was hanging onto my car as we were driving down Rancho and Corona. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I go down that street because I give God the glory. He spared my life. That's only one of the times. Another time too, I overdosed on drugs outside of my friend's house. And I crawled inside the house and I wrapped myself in a blanket just like an animal to die. And I woke up, thank God, and I was okay. But I think that day something happened because that was weird behavior for somebody to be naked and wrap themselves in a blanket, you know. And I remember dry heaving and stuff too. So I feel like I did die that day a little bit too. So because of those reasons, I have a very, 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 very strong intuition, discernment, whatever we want to call it, that I can spot fake right away, and even my spirit can't handle it, and I have to leave. So it's something that I didn't ask for, and I feel weird for, but I own it and I go with it because it's part of me and it's special. It's mine. You know.
Does that happen often?
Mhm.
In all contexts, or do you see it in a particular context more than another of your dealings with people?
Well, let's put it this way. When I go to teach second grade on Thursdays, it's a breath of fresh air.
All the kids, all the innocents, before they've turned to
hate everything.
Us damn adults.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. They're like, Miss M, you know, like, oh, she's here. We knew you'd come. I mean, it's just pure, we love you. We don't expect anything. We love you. We missed you. You bring happiness to us. There's
no ulterior motives.
Yeah,
you're doing this, and this is what I can get from you, and this is.
Yeah, and we forget that we can do that even as adults and go, you know what? I have this really delicious recipe I wanted to share with you, and you know, Church of Christ ways are beautiful ways. We had Secret Sister. We give each other gifts. You didn't know who it came from. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful concepts I want to bring to the world, actually, where we can take pieces of each other's cultures, like India, when they cover their hair and they save it for their husband. I think that's so beautiful because some of us are so sexualized, you know. And I've been there too. And I struggle with that even today because I do declare myself a Christian woman, but I also know my body's getting beautiful, like according to me. And so I'm like, can I wear this? And sometimes it's absolutely not. I'm too old now. But sometimes it's, you know what? You're too self-conscious. You got to just walk through the door and just own it, you know. And but there's other times for sure I'm going way out there, you know. But it's okay. I'm a real person. But yes, it does happen a lot. It's very hard to be me. Now that I've completely been transparent with myself and I own myself in a way that it's like there's this pain, there's this brokenness in me. That's totally awesome because I don't have to be perfect anymore. I have wrinkles. I've still got weight loss goals. I still have a lot of goals that I want to smash. I want to run for city council. I mean, these are things I want to do. I'm healthy enough to do them. Why not do them? So I had mentors. Jackie Casillas. She was a mayor, 2 nonprofits, and pregnant. So I said, what's my excuse? I don't even wear one of those hats. So I said, you know what? So she started taking me around. Other people that were empowering me and didn't want to see me fail. They wanted to see me win. And I hadn't loved myself like that, it's like they were loving me back to life. And it wasn't in a church building. So all these inspirations started bouncing off each other. And now we've inspired other women. So my next event is February 26th for the ladies this time, because I did a kids at Christmas and Halloween at Christmas for the kids. But now, February 26th, 26 my lucky number. Remember, I told you a lot of weird things with 26. February 26th, we are doing a ladies event where we're doing a tea. Everything's free. I already have shoes, purses, business jackets. I want the staffing agency on site to give the ladies jobs on, if they want jobs, boom, let's get a job, or help them with resumes, because some of the ladies in my community, we're not able to read, you know?
So, okay, back up a second, because I want to get more into that, but you had mentioned that there's special things with the number 26. Name a couple of them.
Well, 7th grade, that was my PE number with Mr. Enright. So ever since I sat on that number, because I think that's when I had arrived, like my sweet self was still sweet, and I feel like that girl's coming back. So 26, I just have always said that's my lucky number since that's been my PE number. Now 26, I also feel, and this might be controversial, but sometimes when I'm in the right place at the right time, it'll be a 26. And it's weird, funky stuff, okay? One time I was at another rehab, and in my wooden drawers was a 26 where I got to put my clothes, where my bed was going to be and everything. And I said, why? And just different things that happened. So 226 is going to be beautiful because I just know it will be. And then sometimes it even could be a warning like, hey,
Look out.
And I know that's weird and probably controversial, but
there's a lot of things to be said that we don't know. Like we talked about earlier, nobody really knows anything. We got scientists that try to act like they know a lot, but they don't. And I think the fact that you're so open to openness, I think that does create synchronicities, and because of your openness, you can spot them. And I think that most people have synchronicities in their life, but they're too closed for whatever reason. Maybe it's because they're stressed out. Maybe it's because they have anger issues or emotional baggage. Maybe it's because they have goals that they're so focused on hitting, or whatever it is, that they just can't see what's in front of their face. I know I've been in that situation many times if I'm not there right now, So I think it is a breath of fresh air when you have somebody that you can talk to that is so like, anything can happen, anything is possible, because it is at the end of the day.
It really is.
And we are our only competition. We are our only obstacles.
Not a race. I just barely wrote that this morning. It is not a race. I put it on my Facebook. Actually, I barely put that today. Because it's not. This is what I picture, and this is what I tell people is, we're all in line like this, with our arms like this, and we're barely going like a millimeter at a time, but as long as it's together, we're doing it. So nobody's ahead. Nobody has more. It doesn't matter. Like the money, you're still in this line, because we're all going to die. That's for sure. Nobody escapes death.
Conveyor belt. Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, come on, guys, come on. Because we're doing really bad. I mean, the rage right now, and how short-tempered we are towards our kids. I said, if I don't start it, no, somebody else might, and maybe do something crooked with it, when this is just pure. This is about having us laugh, be silly together, and bring back music. And, I mean, there's a zillion things we got to do.
Okay, so now going back to on February 26th, it's for women in your community. What is your community?
Well, I'm in a mobile home trailer park right by the Honda dealership. And when COVID hit, there was just a lot of things going around the neighborhood. And things were getting closer to home, because I actually thought COVID wasn't even real. I was like, what? I was a rebel. No, let's go to the beach. No, mask. But then they forced us. And then it was kind of creepy, because I'm a very social person. So that was like caging an animal. That was not good.
Yeah, it's like they want you to be healthy. But don't do healthy things like connect with each other and go out and talk to people and exercise and move and connect. And no, stay home, isolate yourself, and then take this vaccine. Such bullshit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what do you do? Because if you don't do what they say, then you can get in trouble. And I have never really been one that, I'm very hard-headed. If I see something, I'm going to do it. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And so it really didn't affect me personally, except for the fact when I would see things and then get irritated with people that were like following all of the guidelines. And then, you know, so, and then it's funny when you look at, in hindsight, you look back at the efficacy or the how effective that vaccine actually was. First, they came out and said 100%, and then they said, okay, 99%, 90%, 89, 76. Oh, we kicked. What the hell? And then there's no recourse. And between me and you, I think, as I'm looking at the death of my little sister, that could have played a major role. She literally had certain issues, but not life-death issues, like health issues. She got diagnosed with schizophrenia. She had a couple of other things, but not where she was going to die, you know? So, and then just literally out of nowhere. And then we did the toxicology report, and she didn't overdose. It wasn't anything like that either. So
no,
it's like,
lethal, like high ranges of anything to take her life.
No. Yeah, there was no overdose. There was no, exactly. So that's why it's like, because in my mind, I was thinking, she liked to take a little Xanax here and there. Maybe she got a hold of one of those Xanaxes that had the fentanyl in it, and maybe the fentanyl got her. My mind. Well, it came back, and then there was I ended up getting 2 autopsies because the medical examiner first declined jurisdiction. They said, no, we're not going to do an autopsy. And I'm like, no. I want you to. No, that's not how it works, sir. I'm like, what do you mean that's not how it works? Well, once we decline jurisdiction, that's it. We're not doing an autopsy. And I'm like, what? Because she died of natural causes. I'm like, what are you talking about? She is 34 years old. People don't just die like out of nowhere. There's got to be some kind of connection to something. Well, there wasn't any drug, you know, what do they call it? Like tracks or any kind of paraphernalia. And she had a medical record. So we just made the executive decision that it was natural causes. And I'm like, no. You guys need to do an autopsy. I'm telling you, she had issues here. And long story short, I'm persistent like you are, and I basically called them and I said, okay, well, this is a problem because now I'm going to have to get attorneys involved, and we're going to have to do a restraining order. Now nobody can touch the body, and this is just going to be a really bad situation. And then the next day, I had gone to her old doctor and wanted to try to get him to call to convince them and influence them. Well, they had already got the body first thing in the morning, but they didn't say anything. They didn't tell me. They just got the body to take it to do the autopsy. So then I had some other information. I called the medical examiner. I said, hey, could you make sure you look at certain areas because it could have been nefarious, and and they're like,
what does that word mean?
Nefarious means like bad intent or bad.
Like somebody could have tampered with her?
Yes. So somebody could have done something criminally or to hurt her.
Right.
Because the neighbor downstairs at 4 o'clock in the morning or somewhere in that thereabouts heard a thump and then walked outside but didn't see anything. And then my mom anyway, it's a long story. But the fact is that I called the medical examiner wanting them to get that information. But instead of saying, okay, sir, we'll look into it, they were like, no, we do a very thorough job. So pretty much nothing that you tell us is going to make us do anything differently or look at anything differently. And then I was like, because what happens is if I tell you that the number 4 is going to win the horse race, now I've committed and I've said number 4 is going to win the horse race. Well, if number 5 wins, I'm going to try to spin it to say that I was still right about number 4 winning. Like if you didn't know, oh no, it was number 4. Or number 4 couldn't do it, and they would have. Number 4 would have won, but they couldn't because of whatever reason, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've said it now, I have to back myself up so I don't look like an idiot.
Right.
And that's, in my mind, what was happening. They're saying, no, it was... And so I was afraid they were going to come back saying natural causes because that's what they said to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust that. So I got another autopsy company involved. They picked my sister up and then did it. And I got 2 conflicting reports. So which one do I believe? Whoa, I know. It's some bullshit. And so this is literally one of those situations where it's like, you just got to give it up. Because there's nothing I can do that I'm going to know. And it's as simple as that. So as hard as it is, that's as simple as it is. So
what do you feel in your heart, though? I mean, what do you really feel? Did she have sleep apnea?
She did have sleep apnea. Oh, okay. So that could have
I think she
just
something. Stopped breathing in her sleep, sir. I really do. Yeah. Honestly. I don't feel like anything really serious was this deficit, like this trauma thing. I don't think so at all. I think that dump was her falling, or I don't know, maybe a chunkla came off. I don't know, but I have sleep apnea, and
I do too.
It can take you. It took my friend Jimmy. Yeah. Jimmy, from the rock plant. He was only about that age. He was 34. He had 3 children, a wife. They were on the verge of divorce. They reconnected. Everything's good, grand. Boom, took him in his sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've also woken up where I couldn't breathe, and then it's taken me a second.
Right.
And then now, had I been taking other medication,
right,
that I wasn't like this,
right.
Yeah, it's possible. So that's definitely one of those things.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know, and that's comforting to hear that. And that's what I want to also believe too. But again, then I have to think about it like, okay, well, because
and also maybe take better care of yourself because you don't. I mean, you still have children to raise too.
Right.
And
absolutely.
Does she have any children?
2. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
no,
I know, and they're
I'm sorry.
15 and 12, or they were in that ballpark. I don't know the exact ages. I can't remember, but yeah, horrible.
Yeah, it
horrible.
Is. And thank you for doing that second autopsy just to double check. And I'm sorry you didn't get what you were seeking, but you know it's going to be a tricky one if you just went in your sleep because you stopped breathing. That's how we all wish we could go.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
I'm sorry to make it sorry. You know,
no, take me like that. That's what I've been talking to my mom about.
It's a dream come true. Yep. Even with I'm sorry the little ones got left behind, but I know you have a lot of love in your family. I'm sure everything's going to work out just fine. But you know, it's just about this. It's easier to it feels like I'd get justice if there's something or someone to blame.
Yes.
You know? And it'll make me feel peace. But the thing is you know, God's ready to take our babies. We're babies. Yep. And God's ready to take us whenever it's his timing. We're not God. You know, we can't say we can't. You know, we're not God. So he's good all the way through and through. And if you want to ask him later, you could. You know?
Right.
And you'll get all your answers. But until then, you got to have peace. You know, you got to have a lot of peace because you're going to see her. You're totally going to see her. And you're going to see her in her best form. No schizophrenia. I mean, a perfect, you're sissy. You're okay. Give me your hand. You're okay. Hey, you need strong people too sometimes. You don't always have to be so damn strong. You know? I realize that for myself. Give me a hug. Oh my gosh, you're okay. Scotty, oh my God. How long have you been holding that? Too long.
Oh, it's none
of our fault. Some of this stuff is our fault. Some of it we can take responsibility for. Well, we could have probably called her more.
Emotions are a very powerful thing. Know? But see, here's the thing. Like, yes, I hold it, but emotions are a very powerful motivator. Yeah. The reason that you have the ink or not angst, the oomph that you have is from your emotions. It's from your emotions of being in a particular situation and that you've seen the other side and you don't want that for yourself or for anyone else because you know how it hurts. Mm-hmm. You know how that feels and you don't want it. And so that emotion powers your involvement with the community and to make things better. I feel the same way. I have a ton of emotions inside. Yeah. Like I feel like I'm a nuclear bomb inside, right? And then I've like if you look around here, you see musical instruments, chalkboards, like all of these cameras and everything that I can put together to pull it out of me, to pull this like what is it supposed to be? I don't know exactly. So I'm trying to do everything I can because I have a lot of emotions that are inside because of yes, I've had some traumatic experiences in my life, like we all have.
Right.
But I also understand that we have the choice of saying, you know what, I'm a victim, or I am a student, and I'm going to look at what happened, and I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to take that situation and take that information and push it towards something better, not just for myself. But I think the ultimate satisfaction in life is when you have a traumatic event and you use that to help other people. And that, more than anything else, gives you purpose in life. And so
you're creeping me out right now. You're creeping me out right now because I got to read this thing really quick. And I wrote it this morning. It's exactly what you said right there. It's weird. Sorry. I know you have
worries.
kids to raise and things to do, but it's kind of creepy. So, your nervous system will naturally feel calm around people with pure intentions and authentic energy. Trust it. So, that was somebody else's little spiel, right? I forwarded it and I said, I struggle with this one big time. Now that I am so transparent with myself, I can easily spot the fakery. I don't want any part of it. I have come too far. Why go backwards? But that wasn't the one I was speaking of. It's this one. Oh, here it is. Okay. So people who have overcome darkness in their life typically have a fire inside of them that is almost impossible to extinguish. Forwarded that one because that's true. And unless we become the victim to the tragedy and we stay exactly where we're in that dark space and we never be fruitful because we're listening to a lie that we have to stay so, like we have to pay for it. We have to have this, we can't move forward.
Guilt.
But that's, guilt, shame, all those other little things that aren't the fruits of the spirit, hello. We can think and go, is this really godly? Is this a fruit of the spirit? And most likely it's not because it's bringing you misery. So in order to pluck those weeds, I like to call them plucking the weeds, you got to take in each individual one and speak truth to it and ask God to speak truth to it because it could be like some of them were big girls don't cry. One of my counselors, big girls don't cry. So she never cried. She got, she got her spankies, wouldn't cry, right? So she grew up stiff as a board, we just don't cry. And then she realized, wait a minute. Big girls do cry. We all cry. And so she had a big triumphant moment where she was able to cry. It was huge. It was groundbreaking, So that's just one of the millions of weeds. I mean, it could be you're never going to public speak because, you get panic attacks when you public speak. So you can't do these things, and it says, okay, is that true? And it was for a lot of years. It was true. But then now it's like, it's not true. As a matter of fact, there's probably other kids that worry, can I speak, good enough up there? Can I read good enough up there? And they can see somebody as old as me saying, I own it. I struggle with it. It's okay, kids. Just get through the sentence. Whatever it takes to get that much, a little bit better and improve yourself for yourself. You can do it. Look at me. It took me 20 years. And it's okay. It's totally okay to be imperfect.
Yes.
What do we want for ourselves? We want happiness, joy, the good things that are still left in the earth. But this is what's telling us how to live. Right? So
More
this
than
is
anything else, probably.
So I forwarded that one, right? And I said this. Yes, kings and queens, because we have to remember we're kings and queens of the highest king, right? Because it's like we're the daughter of the king, right? But I say kings and queens because our men, when we get married, I believe they're the king of the household, not the Lord or anything. I'm not trying to say we're gods, but I'm just saying
there's a specific role
Yeah, and the women is
protector.
treated like a
Hmm.
queen. You know, it's a royalty. I mean, you can have just top ramen, but you can make it as glamorous top ramen as you want it to be. Almost, I'm jealous of that top ramen. Look at how special that top ramen is. Look at how much effort that husband put into that top ramen. He picked one of the roses, stuck it in there. You know what I mean? That top ramen is the shit, right? And then you got caviar over here. And this girl has no idea how much, no relationship.
Yeah.
Zero. Not connecting. See, so which life do you want? I want the top ramen, man. That husband knows how to do it right. Because when he gets the million, he's gonna treat me just like this, and we're gonna talk about when we had top ramen. Know what I mean? And over here, watch. When he's down and out, sheep next.
On.
You gotta watch out. Know what I mean?
Yep.
So I'd have the top ramen any day. Love is not. You can't fake. Isn't
stuff.
this good stuff?
I'm just listening, and I'm thinking how it's gonna sound on the other side, and I do think that there are things that we're talking about and mentioning that other people need to hear. So
You do?
that's the whole point of.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes, I
Okay.
do. I think this is good.
Okay.
So February 26th, you're doing this event. It's for the women,
Mhm.
and you have. Where is it going to be at?
It's gonna be at the clubhouse at 995 Pomona Road in Corona, right next to the Honda dealership. So it's in the mobile home park, but we have a community center right there, so it's gonna be there.
Got it.
Hmm.
And then I know that there's another event that you have coming up. Is that still on?
I hope so. First one I got to focus on is my ladies. After that, I'll hit the ground running. 'Cause there's a lot of nonprofits that want to probably be part of it. Or we have a Cinco de Mayo. We're bringing that back this year in Corona. So even if I took some of the resources in the pop-ups, I can have them there at the Cinco de Mayo parade because I'm supposed to be part of that committee. So
What resources are you talking about?
just like for our homeless folks, like why don't we have IDs? I want to be able to get vouchers for IDs or be able to get them on the spot. We need to know because there's a new system that's like Uber and Lyft, so we can get our folks to and from work. But it's supposed to be at the rate of the RTA system. So it's called Micro Transit, and it's an app on your phone. There's just a lot of things.
And this is something that is a directive from the city, or how are they
Yes.
giving you resources
They're
to?
giving me resources because we have a round table discussion once a month where we meet with our folks on that are homeless or city
Just
council
your company, or
members.
these are other nonprofits?
No, this
or-
is the city of Riverside. It was
Okay.
an initial meeting I got invited to. So this is already months ago. And so when I went, it's just so happened I got invited to this meeting, and then I got really involved in it because I slept in the bathroom off Lincoln Street in Corona, and I've been on the streets. I've been in the elements. They're not nice. So people trust me, and we get solutions. And I do see the fruits of the labor. I have people that tell me, that we're at the Access Center, literally in a tent right outside there. And I mean, we don't even know what suffering is. Let me tell you. Anyhow, they there was a couple. They were only homeless 30 days, and this gentleman was 77 years old, and they wouldn't switch a bunk. They gave him a top bunk, and he wasn't able to get up there. They humiliated him, watching him trying to get up there. And this man came from money. His wife came from money, and they were both out there going, "We don't know what the hell to do." And I said, "Well, we're going to try to do what we can do." So they thought I had a $60 million grant on the line, and that was the only way I could talk to the head. And she came out, and it was awful. How I got treated was pretty awful. She said, "Oh, I is having a problem with the procedures around here." And I said, "Well, there's no problem with the procedures. I was just wondering, can we ask if we could switch for the bed?" And so and I go, and I know for a fact we could because you have an employee that used to work here that said we can, so it just wasn't happening. So that man spent 8 nights in 39-degree weather with his wife until he finally got a bus pass to get to Pennsylvania. In Texas, she calls me. We're starving. We just want to eat. We have our bus pass, but we're really hungry. I only had $7.50 in my wells, but I sent it. They ate, and they made it to Pennsylvania. They messaged me with pictures saying, "Marissa, we made it. We made it. We made it." And then she messaged me not too long ago and said, "Can you talk?" And I said, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "I want to go home, home, home." So see, it's just...
How did they get in touch with you in the first place?
I talked to my community over there on the outside of the Pathway to Life shelter, because the Pathway to Life shelter, there's 90
So
beds.
they were having a hard time. They talked to somebody. Somebody said, "Hey, you should talk to Marissa." They called you, or how?
No, I was building my relationships out there, and they opened up to me.
So you walked to the place, or
Yeah,
you?
I pass out food. I do less than 50, because city council or city code enforcement, you can't feed more than 50 or else you can get a ticket. So I have to bring only 48 meals or 48 Gatorades or 24 packs.
Hold on a second. Giving away. You can't give away more than 50 meals without what? I can understand if you're trying to sell something and then you have your whole thing, and well, maybe they think that you won't. Maybe if you don't have healthy food or something. So
Yeah,
I mean, I guess they're.
it's probably a health and safety issue.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I can. I
So
guess
we
I
have
can
to
see that. You just got to think about it
strategically,
for a second.
yeah, we have to strategically plan the meals. So sometimes I'll do 48 of something, but I had to slow down because I was putting myself in the poorhouse helping the others. And
So
but
this was out of your own pocket, or did you have how?
it was out of my own pocket.
And
That
then you just made sandwiches, or what did you do? What
Yeah, we
kind of
made
meals?
sandwiches. I mean, we made at one time I had this big igloo, so I put a lot of hot water in it, and then we just had a cup of noodles. And then I said, let's create our table. I had this one thing that popped out that was like a picnic bench, and we put the igloo, and I was like, come on, let's commune, let's talk. What's up? What's going on out here? Let's find out. I brought a portable toilet. It was a medical toilet, but I said if you put a 13-gallon trash bag in there, we could just empty it out once it's you know we're camping, people, we're camping. Like, I was mentally telling them like what we had to do to survive. So right now I'm working with Dr. Larissa Villarreal. Anyway, she makes a lot more money, but she's very smart. She came from LA and she was homeless solutions officer over there. So city of Riverside hired her to come over here and implement some of the programs that she was doing over there. And she is a breath of fresh air. She's so sweet. I love her presence. I love everything that she's doing and bringing to the IE. So I'm very honored to call her a friend. So actually, this Thursday is our meeting. So if you want to go, you can.
And it's specifically regarding homelessness, and that is in the city of Riverside. Got it. So I'm trying to figure out. So I think that a lot of people get into the nonprofit sector because they want to help,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like there are also people that get in not because they want to help themselves, and because when you're telling me that there's a 77-year-old man wanting to sleep on the top bunk, I would imagine that anybody that had a heart that wasn't a complete ass would look and say, okay, yeah, hey, you 25-year-old, hey, you 35-year-old,
Yep.
why don't you get on the top bunk?
Yes, and they were willing. It was because of the procedures of Pathway to Life that they said hell no, and they let that man be out there.
So hold on a second. So the procedures say that I imagine it's a first come first serve basis, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how
Yeah,
that's how
because
you
it's
get your
packed.
okay.
Yeah.
So it would cause too much of a problem to say number 34 and number 35 switch, and then now you're number 34 and you're number 35, and
Right.
that
It
would
was
be too
probably
much
going
of
to
an
be
issue.
a lot of paper pushing, or they just don't want to be bothered. But there was a man who was saying that he did used to work for that side and that they were able to do that. But I don't know what
And
kind of
you found out
stresses.
that by bringing a
Advocating,
table,
advocating for him.
talking and giving food and just
Yes.
seeing what the
I
problems
even
are,
recorded her talking to him. Mm-hmm.
that is very interesting.
Yeah.
So now I my mind's going pew, 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 pew,
I
pew.
know, that's how my
So
mind goes too.
so when you so this was all from your own pocket. You set that stuff up. Are you still doing that? Like, is there a regular? Do you
I
have a
keep I
schedule of yourself doing
I
things?
was doing it every other day, if not every day, for a minute there. But during my Christmas event, I did have my friend Marshall who contributed $500. We did random acts of kindness with that one, and then my other friend Joanna, who has this huge coronavirus idea about a wall in the city of Corona, because her brother passed away unfortunately due to COVID. She has this brilliant idea, and she's like, Marissa, is there any way? I said, hey, Jackie Casillas, that's our girl. And there's like a big Southco is coming where we're redoing the downtown of Corona. And I said, wouldn't that be beautiful? Coronavirus wall, Corona victory. a wall right there in the crown, in the middle of the crown. I mean, it would be beautiful because it's going to pulse out, good spreads.
Mm.
Like, it's substantial, like when it's really pure. So we want to bring honor to all these people that, stuff has happened, and we're not going to ignore it. We're going to talk about it because it's okay. It's totally okay to talk about it. If we don't, we're just going to keep bottling all this stuff in, and we're never going to get anywhere. The world will just keep getting worse and worse and worse.
What do you think how many people do you think that are homeless because of drugs compared to people that are homeless because of mental disorders compared to people that are homeless because they lost their job?
Well, right now, because of COVID, that would be really hard to say because sometimes both incomes got affected by COVID, and sometimes it was only one, so it took a minute to get homeless. Or sometimes you were already living in your car, so nothing's changed. I mean, that's one of the things is we need to know our people, because another thing is we're not even housing our sex offenders. And if you take a piss at a Dodger Stadium, you have to register as a sex offender. If a police officer pulls you, hey, it's indecent exposure. So we have to know our clients because some of those people, I mean, how dare us to say you can't sleep in a bed and have this humanity on you because you had to register. So it's different cases. And then if you want to go this far, if you step over a few continents, I mean, you're allowed to marry a 9-year-old girl. So we have also people coming from other countries with their own cultures and their own standards, and they're trying to get used to United States one. And even in some of our states here, we can have multiple wives, we can have young wives. I mean, we have to think about this stuff. We can't just keep pushing and pointing fingers. It's never going to get us anywhere. We have to really think about it and have compassion and empathy and understand we're all cray cray.
That's for damn sure.
We don't all have it together, and it's totally good though, because then we connect and we go, hey, you're human. Oh, you're made of flesh too. You bleed like me. Woo, cool. Who would have thunk it? We got to remember, we ain't nothing.
That's the truth. So a lot of people are too busy with their lives to give a damn. A lot of people are trying to sell their house. A lot of people have motives where, again, it's they want to help themselves. And so it becomes very difficult to have those people slow down, long enough to look around because they're so focused. So you definitely have your work cut out for you. And I just, there was a research study done, and they actually took, I think it was a seminary school, people that were going to school for, to become a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this research study where they had a meeting, and they said, after this meeting, you guys need to make it down the block to this other place. Okay? And there were two groups. The first one, they're like, hey, just get there whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
The second group, they said, hey, we're already running late. We got to go. And they had an actor act like he was dying, like on their path.
Mm-hmm.
And what they found was the ones that were just strolling, that didn't have a particular time to be there, stopped and helped. Hey, are you okay, sir? That kind of stuff.
Oh.
The ones that had a place to be, hey, we're running late. We got to get over there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even these are people that were going to school to be a pastor, right? So these are good, salt of the earth people that are helping.
Mm-hmm.
That's what their life purpose is to help. And they did not stop because they were busy, because they had to get to somewhere now, and they were late.
Mm-hmm.
So on the other side, I do believe that there are a lot of good people with good hearts that are just too damn busy, and they're too stressed out because they're in the rat race. They got to make their mortgage payment. They got to pay their car payment, their insurance, their schooling, their kids' schooling, or they're sick, or they're, and so they have a lot of problems. And this was my thing, back when so me and my daughter got into it because of BLM. And so for me, when the whole BLM thing came out,
Black Lives Matter? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
My thing about that was like, you are telling people that you need to stop your problems right now, debt and sickness and all of these things, and then focus that on this problem over here that is not necessarily touching you specifically right now, but and if you don't do this, you're racist, or so it wasn't about Black lives not mattering. It was about people understanding that just because somebody doesn't want to focus on your problem right now doesn't mean that they're racist, doesn't mean that they don't care about people, doesn't mean that they're a bad person.
Right.
They're drowning in their own sorrows and problems and issues. They're drowning, and they can't even pull themselves out, much less something or somebody else that's foreign to them at that moment. So I think that there needs to be an understanding on both sides of the people that have shit, that are doing shit. Hey, pull the reins.
Yeah.
Check out. There are people that could actually use your help, and you could be something of value to somebody that's really important, that is actually trying. Because over here, you got people, how we justify things.
Right.
Drug dealers. They're homeless because if they wanted to have a home, they would have a home. Or they're doing drugs, or it's not my problem. They're shitting on the sidewalk. They're pissing in the alleyways. They're leaving their trash in people's places, So no, I don't care about that. But so that is happening. There are instances where people that are homeless are doing that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it makes people mad.
Yeah.
So
and destroying businesses
and destroy businesses. And then so you have people that are good people in certain contexts, right? And they're like, screw that. I don't give a shit. That they want to act like that. They want to act like rats. They're going to live like rats, right? So then now I don't have to feel bad because I had just disconnected myself from them, because that's they. That is not us.
Right.
That's them. And you see that like curtain, and now I can be a good person, and I can write a check to this nonprofit, and I can help this old lady across the street, and I can do this. But on that particular topic, I'm checked out. I don't care. Now, so then for the people that are homeless, like there's got to be an understanding for them too, because they got to understand that over here you have people that are drowning in their own way, right?
Right.
They can't understand and be compassionate because they don't know your pains, because they're so in their own shit that they can't see left or right, because they're stressed out trying to figure out how they're going to pay the bills. And so there's got to be some way where you can help them understand. And I think what you're doing is definitely a good start to that. I think that you are turning heads. I think that you are making a difference. I think that you are making the world a better place, right? With your example. And I think that's really great. And I know that when you do the right things for the right reasons, synchronicities happen. The number 26, right?
Yes.
Number 26.
Yes.
The heart. You came over here, you saw a little heart on the thing. I have walked past that. You know how many times? I don't know. A lot. I've never seen it there, right? But then it took you to say, hey, look at this. And I'm like, damn, that's cool. And I took a picture because that was pretty darn cool.
And if you think about it, our rays of vision, what do we see first? I mean, you can tell where a person's coming from sometimes for their heart. That's why they have personality tests. What do you see first? Think about it. Butterfly, so a madman, because they're wondering, who are you? They're doing their little tricky ways of finding who are you. And we can find out right away. How do you see the world? Is it going to hell in a handbasket? Well, that's apparent. Or do you see all the gorgeous things that we still have here, and the breath we take and the life we still have? And if you get back to the village times, who was good at the water? Who was good at tending to the kids? Who built the fire? They laughed. They danced. They had stories. They were happy. Where did we go wrong?
Right.
All these bells and whistles and economy and status quotas. I mean, come on. We missed it. So we could get back to it. I know it. I already see it. I see it every day. I see Miracle Wednesday. I wake up.
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
I woke up today. Um, but you know what? There's just a lot of things that we can do. And my logo is work smarter, not harder. So it seems impossible for some of these people that are in, higher positions to go, Marissa, I got 150. Well, that's okay because that's me. If I lose
Yes.
my peace, I gotta answer to somebody else, but you're not my Lord. You're not my Lord. And you bleed the same as me. And I'm very proud of all your accomplishments, but I'm in my own life. And a lot of people are intimidated by that. They wanna go, no, but I wanna make you what I want you to be. And it's like, why? Why do you have to control people? I'm the biggest control freak. Woo! I'll claim that one first. Hey, I'm not lying. The biggest control freak. But I realized that's one of my big problems. I got to step out and go, it's not about me. So,
What is your advice for somebody that is busy? That, I mean, even if somebody that like on city council that has the ability to make things happen, but what is something they can do personally, not business wise, but them personally? Like, they wake up, they brush their teeth, they take a dump,
mm-hmm,
they get dressed, and they walk out and said, "Okay, what am I going to do today?" Right?
mm-hmm.
What's something that they can do to help you?
Well, Love Foundation is asking this of people because we've never asked for money or donation. If people have given anything, it's been from their heart or they want to be part of this whole thing. Okay. But what I ask of people is 1 hour out of the month. 1 hour out of the month. And if you go 30 days times 24 hours, I mean, we got a lot of hours in there, right? So 1 hour out of the month, we do something that's not for ourselves. It's not for evil purposes. It's not a Facebook shout out, but it's something pure and no one knows about it. And you can either, you bought somebody's coffee or you donate that hour to a place where you could teach a class, acrylic painting, I don't know, drums. I'm going to do it actually next Wednesday. Or I'm sorry, tomorrow. Tomorrow's my first class. Corona Care. I'm donating an hour to do an exercise class outside to let them know, hey, our hearts are still pumping. We're alive. We got wisdom. We still got a lot of life in us. What are we going to do with the rest of it? I mean, that's going to be a phenomenal class because in those beds, they're sick and it's a rehab so we could free up the beds because it's proven when we feel happy and we feel our best, then our bodies will heal. But if we're sad and our families aren't visiting us, what do you think the progress of our body's healing is? It's going to
It's
be
go
slower.
worse. Yeah, yeah.
So we need
It's
to free up those beds. So I'm offering that 1 hour. And I had another lady that was like, I'll go with you. And we're going to have a ball and we're going to pass it sometimes. So we'll take turns. I mean, there's not going to be a big curriculum, but I bet you they're going to have the best day ever. I know I will. And I'm sure she will too. So it's just a tiny something. So for the busy folks like myself, 1 hour a month is, I think it's not too much to ask. It's not money.
I
It's,
think you're right. I also think that there are people willing to do that.
yeah.
But my question is, what what do you tell people that are like, Marissa, I want to do that. I think that's great what you're doing. That you actually stepped outside of your comfort zone and you're giving an hour and you're doing things for other people. I want to be like you, Marissa. I want to be like that, but I'm so busy and I don't know where to go. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to do in order to get out there. I'm so used to doing what I do, going to the job that I go to, coming home, fixing dinner for the kids and doing what I do. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where to begin. So where would you say they can begin? Where how would you tell them to do something?
Well, I would find out what's their talent, what makes them tickle fancy, like what makes gets them excited because most likely that's their talent, that's their gift to bring to someone, children, elders. I mean, there's a lot of people we could be of service for. But first of all, find out what that is because we need to do as much of that, whatever that is, as much as we can before we pass. Because it's whatever it is, it brings you the most joy. So if you can teach a class on it and be happy 1 hour a month, then maybe that will improve your life where you want to do more of those special things in your life every day and teach your kid how to have those and remember and also our kids already have their gifts. We have to remember they already have their little personality and gifts. We're here to guide them, but they're already their own little person, you
Yeah.
know. So there's a lot of cool things we're doing. I mean, there's it's gonna grow, and I never bit off more than I can chew because I'm smart about that. I don't want to say I'm going to do something and not do it. I'm all about what I say I'm going to do, you know? So that's why I haven't taken any offers for business related things because I said, no, thank you, sir or ma'am, because I want this thing to really produce the way it's supposed to. And it's not about, hey, we need this funding and that funding and what do we, it's going to be peaceful and it's going to be beautiful and it's going to be what it's supposed to be, and we can bridge gaps. So,
Yeah, you know what? I like that idea. I like the philosophy. I just see that at some point there is an intersection because one of the biggest problems with the nonprofit sector is the businessality, right? Because they want to help. They want to have innocent and pure intentions, and they don't want the corporate person to come in and dirty the water, muddy the water.
Right.
But there at some point comes a time where, like the idea is that you get a corporation or corporate, or not even a corporate, maybe it's a small business owner that is trying to do something good for his community, right? And that he can help in a way. And so that will, at some point there, you gotta, in order for you to survive,
right,
you got to bring in sustenance.
Right.
And sustenance for you, like, okay, I'll tell you one of the most interesting conversations from USC that I've had.
Where did I put? Oh, there's my drink. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
So, this class was called Business Feasibility. And we had to come up with a business idea, and then we had to take it from launch all the way through and do all of the different setups.
Did you have a ribbon cutting at the end?
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
Not just on paper. Like on paper, and then we had to identify the vendors and then communicate with vendors and literally do the market survey of, hey, is this a feasible business, right? But I thought I had the best idea, and it was using my nonprofit, my Unsung Hero Foundation. Unsung Hero is something that is near and dear to my heart, right? Because the people that truly care, those are the unsung heroes, the real ones, not your heroes, the unsung heroes. So what I put together in my mind was a community that just by joining, you're going to help others. And the idea was that in order for you to join, you had to write down a dream, a challenge, and a goal. And because most people, and I did this, I've talked to a lot of businesses and I've talked to a lot of people, and I've asked even entrepreneurs, even successful people, did you ever write down your dreams? And there's maybe like 5% of them that did. I'd say 10 at the max. Like, most people don't write down their dreams. And it's so important to manifest what you want is to write it down, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, write down your dream, write down a challenge and a goal. But to be accepted, you had to help a dream, a challenge, and a goal.
Oh, okay. Like a pyramid.
I don't know.
Or kind of like a pay it forward.
Yeah. Where it's like, in order to be part of the community, it's an active community. You can't just say, hey, I'm part of that. No. To be part of that, you have to do something, right?
Right.
A dream, a challenge, and a goal. And how much of a better world would we have if everybody's helping each other make their dream come true? What if just by knowing who somebody in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, wanted to move over here and work at an asphalt company, or wanted to have a job somewhere in California, and because of your connection, you could literally, by a phone call, make somebody's dream come true. How amazing would that be, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is the greatest idea ever. And so after class, we were walking, and I was like, hey, I got an idea. He's like, what is it, Scotty? I told him, a dream, a challenge. And he looks at me, because we stopped. He looked at me, he's like, Scotty. And I thought he was going to say, oh, that's a great idea. He's like, that's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard. And I was like,
oh my
I said, I was shocked, but immediately impressed.
Oh my God.
Because that kind of candor you don't get from people, right? And I tremendously respected him from saying that to me, because
right, yes,
like, don't beat around.
I do too.
And he's like, listen, who is the number one philanthropist in the world at that time? It was 2015. Bill Gates.
Oh, okay.
Bill Gates. Why? Because he has the most money. He says, Scotty, this is a business feasibility class. You go and you make money and create and produce profit margin. And now once you have that profit margin, you go make the world a better place. Business feasibility. So that does play a part in survival. And it will come to you at some point, like, because you run out of resources at some point. Right. So that's why you connect yourself to the city. That's why you connect yourself. So maybe if everything's through the city, but then the city also has their own agendas.
Yeah, I don't want to be controlled.
Right.
I don't want to be controlled. I'll tell you that.
And I had a situation with an event that I did, because I pulled in a couple, because in order to get a couple of things. Yeah, go ahead. In order to create some resources, I had, and then who I was teamed up with, they didn't like that idea because they wanted everything, and it was like, no, this is pure.
That's why I didn't get my nonprofit. I didn't want chairs. Right. I don't want a bunch of people, yays and nays. I said no, so I got my LLC, because I said God's trusting me with the money anyway, so I might as well at least lock in the name. And then Saul Shapiro, who was on the same ballot as Trump, is one of my mentors, and I gave him a list of everything I needed to finish to legitimize.
You know, Saul was on this podcast.
Was he? Hi, Saul. Cool.
Yeah, no, we had a very interesting conversation.
He's an interesting man.
Yeah, I like Saul. It was a good podcast. If you listen to that, you'll learn some real interesting things about that man. He's got some pretty interesting synchronicities that have happened in his life as well. So anyway, I'm
sorry to get off subject with you, but I wanted to finish hearing your story, though.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that's why I didn't do the nonprofit.
That was the point, is that business feasibility, and he, it shocked me, but it will come up. It will. It's inevitable, because in order for you, because unless you're Mother Teresa, and even Mother Teresa.
That's stop. 7th grader dressed up like Mother Teresa.
Oh yeah.
That's what I call myself, and nobody knows this.
That's funny.
I call myself the Mother Teresa 2023.
Interesting. What does it mean, Marissa? I don't know.
Oh my God, that's weird. Yeah. It just means that you've seen too much. You're really in contact with God, and you have the same intuition as me, but you haven't been resting. So you get like, the radio frequencies coming in are a little bit crooked because you don't get enough sleep. As soon as you get enough sleep, you'll know exactly what you're supposed to do. I'll guarantee that. Wow. You're a powerhouse. You don't give yourself enough credit, huh? That already answered my question. You don't take compliments very well. That's okay. That's good. We're pure. It's okay. I know when people give me compliments, especially a significant other, it's like, I'm pretty? Huh? It's like, no, I'm not. I'm fat. I have stretch marks. Like I get all, no. Because I don't think that about myself. So we will never accept it. But I'm breaking those boundaries going, you know what? I kind of have a little bit of like, oh, well. I'm like, and that's okay. It didn't mean I was conceited. It meant that I'm accepting myself.
Yeah. And that's an important thing. And especially with everything and our egos and how we're so connected to the phone, and it's telling us how to be pretty, and it's telling us how to be successful and what that means, and that if you don't fit that cookie cutter, you're an outcast and therefore not as valuable, and that's
I get that all the time. I get a lot of people that put me down. I get a lot of people texting me saying, how come you haven't brought me food yet? You're phony. You're part of the county. I get a lot of different people that don't believe in me whatsoever, but it's okay. It's totally fine. Because later on, sometimes, it comes back to a conversation, or I'll get to see them again and they know I wish them well and it's genuine, or I'll have to, in order to keep my peace, I have to know this isn't healthy for me anymore, or, there's just different things that I have to do for my own health. And I think they're completely okay. I'm sorry. I have to, if I'm not good, the rest of my clan isn't good. you know.
Yeah,
So that's something I work on a daily because I'm my worst enemy.
totally.
I'm so mean to myself. Awful. So,
I've been doing, I get up in the morning and then I have a sauna. So I get in the sauna and then I do breathing exercises and stretch while I'm in there because I feel like with me again, I have a lot of mice up there, you know, with the wheels turning,
mhm.
and I need to slow myself down. And I found that there's really two ways that you do that, and one is by focusing on your breathing. You literally can change your state of being by consciously using your breath in a particular way,
Mm.
and then also you can slow down those mice by moving. By
Mm.
That's why they say by taking a walk. But again, it's funny because this is the Move podcast, right? But
Yeah.
move in connection to love. But
Mhm.
the fact is that if you look at the actual definition of move, ambulation is taking something from here to there, right? And that process is and it's at the end of the day, it's our life, right? It's that journey. It's not the beginning and it's not the destination. It's everything that is in between.
Mhm.
And so I try to use the tools that I've heard to help, and it's helped me tremendously. Like it was very
Mhm.
not where I am right now.
Mhm.
Like I got into some rough waters and
Right.
into some deep valleys, you know, in
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
And again, the sleeping is definitely a big issue, but sleeping is one thing and there are also other things that you can do, and that's where it's helped me. And so
Yeah.
if I can get that whole sleep thing, I haven't got that dialed in yet because, you know, I wake up and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and then
Right.
it's like it started. Oh shit, okay.
Mhm.
So and then I try to do breathing and stuff like that, and so it's just definitely one of those issues.
I think you need to journal and don't worry, because probably when you journal, you're worried somebody might read it because it's like, am I a freak? Somebody's gonna think I'm a
Oh, I
freak.
already know I'm
You
a
know what
freak.
I
I'm
mean?
okay with
Yeah,
that.
I know. Me too. Me too. That's the thing is, but journaling will let you know that because you could reread what you were saying or
Yeah.
thinking in your brain because sometimes it's hard to keep up with us. You know, it's hard to
Oh,
keep up with us.
I know, believe
You know
me.
what I mean?
And it's funny because I have a so literally I have started where I literally have been doing that, you know.
Good. Okay,
Is
so you were
so
journaling. Is that the
no.
vision I saw for you? Good.
It's
Good.
funny. So,
Good.
but that also has helped because it does take. You don't realize how many different thoughts are flying around in your mind, and
Mhm.
instead of, and this is kind of like plucking it, taking it here, and having a place for it, and then it
Yeah.
allows you to build on top of it, and things like that. And then there are moments of uncertainty and unrest, that I experience, even like right now, as we speak. I am in a situation where I am redefining my future
Good for you.
and how I'm putting it together. And so it's very uncertain. The way
It's
that I got here,
groundbreaking. It's
well,
groundbreaking.
it is groundbreaking. But the thing
Yes.
is so this has happened to me a couple times, and this moment of trepidation and uncertainty and unrest and holy shit, like I think that's the best way to describe it.
Mhm.
It's happened, and then I had to redefine myself, right? Which I did, and there was a period of suffering, there was a period of uncertainty, and then what ended up happening is the gear actually like got engaged, and I went woo, right?
Yeah.
And here I am. I've landed here, and
Yeah.
this is, you know, I've been very lucky. I have a studio. You know, my family life is better than it's ever been. I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky. Like,
Yes, you are.
the amount of appreciation that I have, like the amount of appreciation is abundant. It is like I'm so thankful, but not just from this. All this shit could go away tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is great,
Yeah.
but it could go away tomorrow. But the true value, like my family, the things that I've been able to connect with, the people that I've been able to connect with, the things that I've been able to learn from talking to people on this podcast and stuff like that, that is invaluable. And it's like now, so I got here and something else happened that took away those legs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I have a huge mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have a
Right.
huge responsibility because, like, now this is like 2 acres, whereas
Right.
before I had, and there are other
Mhm.
things that I had no idea about having property and the responsibilities and the costs when something goes wrong. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but
Home ownership.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not just home ownership. I had home ownership before. This is property and home ownership. So
Oh,
so there's
wow.
there's more things that I didn't, like, just having a house. There's more cost. And also
Right.
when people come in, it's like, hey, this is a nice house. Well, automatically your invoice is going to be 30% higher than what they normally charge, and I've found
Right.
that out a lot too. And it's like, man, okay,
Ah.
but that's
Are you
fine.
serious?
Oh, totally. It's happened so many times where I've told people, I'm like, all right, I obviously have sucker. It's not that I have sucker that they see sucker. They say, hey, well, if somebody can afford to live here, they must have money coming out of their ass, right? So
Yes.
so they can,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not the case. So,
Mm-hmm.
but the point is that now I'm in another spot in my life where I have to redefine, and that's literally where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm at is redefining. I'm putting everything together as we go and trying to make it the best that I possibly can with
Mm-hmm.
my experience, with my passion, with my skills, and with my resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in the same boat. You're in the same boat. We're
Mm-hmm.
all in the same boat. We're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do what we can to make the world a better place.
Well, you just have to tell me what you want to do, how much you want to make, and what location you want to be at, and then I can help you. And,
So, so, and is that what you do through the Love Foundation?
That's just me because I'm a ball of resources and I don't hide away from the things that I know. That's the good thing is they're not for me to be all secret. I want as many people to know about these wonderful things. Like people that might have a felony and they're scared to apply for jobs. Well, there's a lot of jobs that you'll be able to get. Or there's expungements through the DA right now. They're expunging them so we can get people union jobs, at FedEx and stuff, because we have a problem with manufacturing right now.
Do you know somebody in the DA area that if somebody called you and they had an issue that you could, hey, talk to this person and
to get an expungement?
to get an expungement?
Yeah, it's on my list. Yeah, it's on my
Wait,
list.
what list are you talking about?
I think it's called Care Court. Care Court. It's a certain program. And so the DAs are actually going to be coming out and have pop-ups where they're giving the information on how we can expunge the records.
Okay, so you are doing a lot of things. You have your
I know.
hands in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
And what is
You
it?
haven't even heard about my music career yet.
Your music career. Okay, so tell me about
I'm going to be
that.
in the studio next Tuesday with Sugar Free's official DJ. He's going to be, actually, he's with Warren G, DJ Bobby B. He's doing a concert with Warren G, which I knew was going to happen because Warren G, I'm a really big fan of Warren G, and I have faith that he's going to do my Love Foundation jingle, a rap version of it. Him or Sugar Free. Either one. I'll take either one.
So, but when you say your music career, are you saying because you're connected to them, or are you going to actually be performing or writing or creating?
It's not a performance. DJ Bobby B, he has a professional studio. I haven't seen his studio, but I'm pretty sure it's phenomenal. And I'm going to pay $100 for the hour, and I'm going to get Presley Tennant, I'm going to ask her if she could join me, because Presley Tennant is going to sing my country version of my jingle with her guitar. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
She was on The Voice 4 years ago. She's up and coming. She's a narco star. She's 20 years old now, and she opens for Boots in the Park. And she was there for 3 hours with my kids in my community for my Christmas event.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did a Cupid Shuffle, everything. I mean, then I just saw her at the gala. She sang for the national anthem. And so we were like, yee, when we saw each other. So she goes, is it okay if I strum my guitar for the country version? I said, yes. Because I sent her a video of what I wanted. And she goes, I just love you. Because I acted like a choir instructor when and cut. I was like, so she was just like, I just love you. You're funny. So I already have that. And then also Tara New, who's Trejo's music, Danny Trejo, Machete. She sang a lullaby version. And she sent that to me because I got to meet her, and she's all about love and the movement too, about we could do better. So she's a songstress. So I'm going to see if she can join me too, because if we could get an hour of studio time, that'd be incredible. So that's next Tuesday.
Very cool.
Oh, and I already have a rock version too.
Okay, I like that. I literally just finished a book called The Addiction Formula that is music theory, like the whole thing on how basically to create a song from scratch and all of that. And so I'd like
cool.
to be I'd be interested to see how that works out. So just
Okay.
keep in touch, send me something, or
Okay.
this it's interesting stuff. I like to see where this is going to go too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you never know who comes into your pathway. You called me because you thought you thought the number was connecting you to a senator or something, or
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
I just looked at my phone. I'm like, who is this? I'm like, Marissa. I don't remember, like, Ma, but I have her in my phone. And then I answered the phone, and it was like one of the craziest conversations I've had.
I know. I was like, and yes, I saved your number under something else. And I said, wait a minute. And then I remembered, I said, wait, I met him at the chamber. And I remember you were really ball of energy and personality. And I felt inspired by you. And then I remember you had a podcast because I had a vision of a podcast with 4 chairs. And actually, the guy that was going to invest in me and give me Love Foundation and help me get the website and everything else that I needed, he had a podcast room with 4 chairs, just like my vision. And I said, oh, so I thought this is it. But our relationship didn't ended up working out because it was going to be based on greed. That's just my personal decision. So I pulled out, and good thing I did because I needed to rest for a year. So
Nice. Well, good and bad, right?
yeah,
We have
oh
them
yeah,
both. So,
absolutely,
but
absolutely.
either way, this is great. It's if anybody wants, I don't think a lot of people that are homeless right now are listening to this podcast. The demographic for people that typically listen to, there are 12-year-olds. There are between 12 and 34 is this 47% of the demographics of people that listen are between 12 and 34.
Really?
That's a huge amount of people and a
Yeah.
huge span of people. But I would imagine people that are listening to this podcast are on the side of being busy and having a lot of problems. I say problems, a lot of responsibilities. Maybe that's it.
Yes. Yes.
So if somebody wants to do something, they want your help, or they want your advice, or they want to help you, how can they get a hold of you?
Well, the best bet is Instagram on President of Love Foundation, and DM me where we met. It could be Scotty's podcast. It could be, Path of Life Shelter. It could also be all kinds of different places that I go. And what I do is I'll respond to you, and we can either, if there's a question or if there's a resource you need, I try to send a screenshot. Like right now, it was showers, it was clothing, it's been transportation and different things. So when City of Riverside promised us a pamphlet, and we got it with real time phone numbers. So I put it on my president of Instagram because I do have that community that need help. So we were able to show where the showers were. And it's Presbyterian church, it's like certain days, but a good shower,
They
I'm
just
telling you.
open their bathroom up or their locker room up to showers, or is it
I haven't
mobile?
gone to the church. It's just on the docket of where you could go. It's probably 2 or 3 places in the city of Riverside that you can go to get a shower. And then another church gives out clothing. And then I just found out about the micro transit. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff that people want to see people thrive and do well. And the more crevices you look in where there is just hurting individuals, the more we need people that have experience actually, that can show compassion, that there is recovery, and it's not just you have to be perfect all of a sudden. It's, they need to be touched, they need to have a handshake, they need to know what a warm meal looks like. And also some of our people don't even know what it's like to be at a dinner table with parents or anything like that. I mean, it's just been, hey, I'm in a foster care, and it could be your worst nightmare. I mean, these we don't know each other's lives. Let's just
Right.
say that everything is different. It just depends on how we were raised, culture backgrounds, different things. Traumas, things that we think are okay with how we raise each other. I mean, in some cultures, I mean, it's completely okay to beat your woman's butt. Completely okay. You know, and
Right.
so you beat them into submission, and it's totally okay. So we have to not pretend we're in this bubble, and actually kind of embrace each other. And it's not even doing exactly what I'm doing. It's just saying we're humans, man. We're humans. We're meant to love and connect and be there for each other and build each other up. When did we start to tear each other down so bad? So that's what it is. There's just a lot of, the kids are easy. The kids are easy. Even the worst of the worst kids, bring them to me. They're the easiest. It's the higher ups, guys. It's the governments. Some of the people sitting at the chairs, I see the work and I see the action and I'm like, wow, here we go. We're doing it. And I'm not a political person. Government was not my
Forte.
It was not. I'm sorry, but and I say that right away, but I'm learning because a strong person says, this is what I'm weak at, but I want to be excellent at it. And what is it going to take to get excellent at this? Well, I've been working on my body. I want to eventually get some kind of a little six pack. I know I'm not good at this. I'm a food addict. I'm an everything addict. But, I acknowledge this and I want to work on it hard, So we can do it and we can inspire each other because some of us are just, we think there's just nothing left. Like we're just waiting for our time to just
Kill
go.
over.
Yeah, get it over with. And that's there's work to be done. There's a lot of love here. There's a lot of good people and there's a lot of people that want to help and it's inspirational. You get a kite out there and you see the butterflies and just the little dandelions, your whole mindset can change.
Yep.
Get outside, man. Get outside. And there's just a lot of work to be done. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Do you have any website or resource that?
No website yet, but once it's up, it's going to be really easy. Emergency red, green, I just need a little help. It's going to be really easy, especially for our non-readers, you guys. Our non-readers, I'm for you because you guys need everything to be empowered and loved and treasured because we just have to remember not all of us are the same. And we got to take all this shame off of all this stuff. It's like, oh, we have arrived. No, you haven't. You'll hit your knees in no time. When we think that, that's scary because that means we can't grow and we can't learn and we can't be a sponge and realize, hey, we're only this little speck, 8 billion people. That's what it is. And we have a lot to work to do, but work smarter, not harder, and make sure, first of all, we have to make sure we're trying our best to give ourselves that space, that peace, and the same love too before we can give it to others. We got to check ourselves. We got to, check ourselves at the door first because we have to realize nobody's righteous, man. Nobody's righteous. We're doing the best we can, and we got to love each other as much as we can, you guys. There's too much hate out there, and we could do better. We are doing better.
Nice.
Okay. Okay.
So, do you have any domains for a website?
Well, we tried to go on GoDaddy, and it was Love Foundation. Was taken. Love _ Foundation wasn't, but that was already a long time ago, so I'm sure it is. So I don't have a domain. I got to go on GoDaddy, and it was $1.99 or something.
Yeah. Well, I have resources with that kind of stuff, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I could probably help you out.
The number one thing I need help with right currently this second is I need to get my up and running. I have a Cricut. I have I have a computer. It might be old as heck, but I have it, and I can easily email people to go send this to your the Parent Connect for the city of Corona. It's a big resource hub right there. And there's certain things I know from the city council where I want to get it to them so they can get it to their foster kids, to their kids that are considered homeless. Because even if you turned a garage into, let's see, a little casita, that's considered homeless because it's not stability. Because you might not live there forever, right? So there's about 23 at our Title I school right now. And so, we're just not pretending that we don't see these things.
There's 23 kids that are homeless, that are officially determined to be homeless?
Yes.
And that's...
One school.
And that's an elementary school? Because is that second grade or is that the whole...
That's the whole school.
Okay. Yeah. But still, that's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Even 2's a lot to me, because we don't know food's going up. Because before it used to be, as long as you have eggs in your fridge, you got a lot.
Right.
Now it's scary because $8.99, so there's just certain things, but But what's cool is if you go to Path of Life Shelter, outside of Path of Life Shelter, the community there, I love them. I love them. We have the capabilities of boiling water. One of the ladies there makes tacos, and she's made menudo, and she feeds the people. And she's like, she's a mother out there. There's
And
another
that's just
lady. Uh huh.
out of her own pocket, or what?
Well, a few people that have EBT, I mean, we'll have one person go to the store to get some of the things that we need to cook, or
Oh wow! So it's a community.
Oh yeah,
Wow,
we help each other out
that's
there.
pretty cool.
Yeah, the integrity is what I'm trying to bring to the higher ups. The integrity that's at the Pathway of Life Shelter with the people out there, and I say my people. I'm sorry because they're my friends. Um, is what I'm bringing to the higher ups because they have nothing yet they give something, and there's something sweet in that. There's something gorgeous in that, and that's why it's temporary. It's camping. God's gonna bless them abundantly, even more than He does the higher ups, because there's something pure in being in that state and knowing like you don't know if you're gonna wake up literally because you've been in 30-degree weather all night, and sometimes you're hitting Fetty just to sleep through the night. We don't want to know what that lifestyle's like. We don't.
What do you mean hitting Fetty?
Slamming fentanyl to sleep.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Some people have to do that just to sleep because it's freezing weather. You can't be comfortable. You're shivering. You're tortured. Know what I mean? We don't know that kind of state of desperation. We don't. I don't.
Right.
But I've seen it. So.
Yeah, that's horrible. I think you're right. We have a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
But in the midst of everything, it's very important to stop, smell the roses, and acknowledge the beauty that God has put around us, the people that He's put around us, in front of us also. And I think more than anything is to be appreciative of your path, of where you're going and where you came from. And I'm appreciative that we had this podcast. I wasn't sure it was going to happen.
I know, me neither.
Yeah,
I said, well, I'm coming at 12:30, he said.
but I'm appreciative. I'm very appreciative that it's happened. I think we got a lot of good stuff here. And I think that I can help you. I think that you can help me. And I think together that we can help more people than each of us alone. And so
Absolutely.
Anybody out there that would like to join this movement, then I dare you to give me a call, give me an email, or reach out to her president of Love Foundation on Instagram. And I think that there are a few things that are going to happen after this little podcast. So stay tuned. And by the way, just in case you're tuning in early and you never got the intro, my name is Scotty Carlisle, and this is the Move Podcast. And we just hit the ground running. So I didn't want to stop you to do an introduction because I think it's been nonstop good stuff, good meat and potatoes here. And Marissa, what's your last name? Herrera, right?
Yes.
Marissa Herrera with the Love Foundation. And thank you for tuning in. And if there's anything else that you'd like to say.
Well, I just really admire Mother Teresa, and she says that let not one person leave our presence not feeling more happy than when they came into ours, or more loved, or I'm sorry, it's not verbatim, but I think that's beautiful because we want people to feel better when they leave us. We want people to feel like they're important to us when they leave us, because this life is really precious, and sometimes we just got to stop and look people in the eyes and say, I love you. I love you unconditionally with all your flaws. I love you. It's almost foreign. It's almost really comfortable to say, I hate you. And we got to turn that back around because we need each other really bad. I love you, and I hope all is well. And this is only, the bet is yet to come. There we go. I'm tongue twisted after all this, but we got this. High five.
Awesome.
Woo!
All right, Marissa. Thank you. And again, keep an eye out. I think there's some good stuff coming down the road.
I think so too.